All right, hello, and welcome to Sound Off. All right, so you guys know we do a show every Friday night. I really would like you guys to come into the chat room, sound off with us. Let us know your feelings, your thoughts, what you're thinking, what you're going through. If you have to express yourself, we're talking like, say things like, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And really just put yourself into the place that you can vent, that you can allow yourself to be, of the mind that if you vent, it's just going to release that energy and not feed that energy. You know what? Because I tell you what, I have been, trying to do the right thing, live the right life, do the right way. And oh my God, do the best I can at my day every day, and I still go through crap. So I'm like, okay, it's, you've got to be able to vent. You've got to be able to release it. A lot of the energy work that we do is just that, working with your chakra system, going in and energetically releasing this, angst, these frustrations, letting it go because it's just bullshit to hang on to them. And it's not feeding the situation, you're releasing it. And so come in and sound off with us. The links for the live chat are over on our Facebook page, but I've also put it in the YouTube chat room for anybody who goes into the YouTube channel, which, hello, we see you over there watching us. Go ahead and just click on that and it'll bring you into the live chat. And again, trolls, come on in. Oh, we got so, attacked with trolls last week. I'm like, and bring them on. You just raise the higher viewer points for us. So come on in. I tell you what, I really want to start today by talking about one thing that's really been making me mad all week. First of all, can you believe that it's already the end of the first week of April? We're already a week into it. Where'd the week go? But we're being filled with such crap during the week. Oh my God, I can't turn around. Every time I get on Facebook or every time I get on any kind of news media, it's always talking about things that I find out later aren't true. So it's basically fake news on what we want to consider real news channels. Now, whether it's going to be, the internet magazine or the internet, station, but they're throwing stories out there to get a reaction, for that shock value. Because I tell you what, they really piss us off. Those fake stories, get you going. And I fell into it. I bought into it last week, but it touched something in me that just really, it goes to my heart because I lived it. And that is, it was a story about pedophilia as wanting to be classified as the same as homosexuality, as a sexual orientation instead of a sickness. Oh my God, I was so stunned and so shocked that even when I posted that article from a reputable news outlet, that I couldn't even express what it was, made me want to post it. I was just in such shock that our psychology experts could even come to the point of wanting to consider putting pedophilia in the same class. It's like putting marijuana in the same classification with cocaine and heroin, just not the same. And it's a different kind of orientation. So you cannot. And so I couldn't even express what it was. I was just so shocked. And I mean, really, even it took me, I had to go on with my day. I had appointments and things, so I couldn't just sit there and just want to, be on it all the time. So I had to move on. And so I had to go on with my day, and I had to let it sit there and think, and it stewed, and it's like, this is what happens anytime we hear any kind of negative or any kind of shocking news, or and it puts a shock to your system, and it really just sits there and vibrates, and it allows itself to just simmer, and then it starts to boil, and then it starts to boil over back to the point that by the time I got to the message again and got back on, and was able to comment, several people had already commented on it as well, as just as much shock and dismay as I was. And so I was able to express myself a little bit better. But, I just couldn't believe it. And so I had to go and do my own, research after I had time. Because, again, I just saw it, posted it, and then went on with my day and then went back to it later. But I was just so distraught. I allowed myself to get emotional about it, because, and again, it's like something that I dealt with, and had to live through. And so it just, put those triggers on me. And I think that that's what the fake news is all about, putting those triggers on us. So anyway, I had to go back and, put exactly how I felt about it, and that, we should not, romanticize any type of, any kind of what I consider to be rape. We shouldn't romanticize it. It's kind of like the guy who a few months ago, you guys may remember, that tried to start having group meetings, so that they could start saying that rape inside your own personal home is legal. Okay, I mean, that's what it's likened to. And it's just, geared to shock you. It's just geared to, get you and piss you off, and, get you in that state of fear, and that state of angst, and that state of just tension and anxiety and rage. Just keep you in that flow. And that's what it's designed to do. And so it did. And so I, of course, had to, go do my research and really check out, because I'm thinking, what are these guys thinking? These men and women who are trying to say that, they should reclassify it. And of course, this was, something our professional society or organizations, whatever you want to call them, their profession, that they do. It's shock value to keep people in that fear of wanting to, go back to their service. As soon as I go and look, and start looking up and finding other articles about it. And sure enough, there's an article over there by another reputable site talking about how that article was not real. It was taken out of context, actually kind of reworded, so that, it would incite anxiety, incite fear, and so it wasn't real. So I went to I'm like, damn it, they got me again. This fake news, these stories, these propaganda, all these things that keep getting put out there that aren't real. And, we buy into it. We believe it. It's like, okay, we've got to stop and think. Even for me as a psychic, you're supposed to know this stuff. How come I didn't know? Because it brought something from deep inside me that I thought I had dealt with, and it pulled that fear, it pulled on that angst, it pulled on that trigger again. Just pull the trigger, pull the trigger, pull the trigger. That's what they keep doing. I think that's the whole reason, the fake news is out there, to keep us confused, to where when we hear the truth, we don't even know if it's truth or not. We don't even believe. We won't believe it's the truth because, it's like the little boy crying wolf, right? How many times are they going to tell you a story, distort the story, make up the story just to make the real, situation, more exaggerated, just for the shock value? Why are they doing that? You have to ask yourself, why? And start thinking, isn't it making you mad? Aren't you starting to get a little pissed off that they're trying to just really manipulate you? Why are they trying to do that? They're good. Wholesome. They're just doing their job, reporting the news. Yeah. Well, they're more like the National Enquirer. They're making shit. It's a two-headed alien. Or that came out of the mama's belly. I mean, they're just making stuff up now. But they always have. This is what people, makes me, take it a step further. A lot of people are just so complacent. They believe that shit. They believe it. They buy the magazines. They soak that stuff up. Oh, what's going on this week? Is it a celebrity they're talking about that's cheating on their wife, or, abusing their kids, or show a history of abusing women? I mean, they're just constantly throwing these shock value stories at us, and we have to remember that they are stories. We can't take everything at face value and just buy into it because of our perception. It was my perception that got me emotionally involved. I should have done the first thing the last thing I did should have been the first thing I did. And that was check out the story. Don't just go post it and put it on your news feed. Don't go do that until you check it out. And just to prove the shock value. that I posted up another article, fake news, about the new Planet Nine. That people have been talking about this Planet X for years, or Planet Nibiru for years, or this ninth planet in our solar system, whatever you want to call it, for years. I could tell you stories from back in the 80s about this Planet X. It wasn't being called Nibiru then; it was being called Planet X. And then I guess more towards the 2000, it became Nibiru. Now it's the ninth planet. I mean, anyway, saw another article about how their scientists are saying that this planet that has been discovered in our solar, oh my God, solar system. I was going to say solar atmosphere, but no, it's a solar system. This ninth planet that is could at any day comes towards Earth and start throwing comets and fireballs at us, and poof, we could be gone. I mean, seriously. And then it came to mind that there's a movie about that. I can't remember the name of her. I'm really bad with the names of movies and stuff, but it had one of my favorite actors in it, and I can hardly ever remember his name. I got a lot going on up in here. Um, it, you do well. If that is the case, I don't want to know. Wait, if it's going to be blowing us up, I know. What are you going to do about it? Hello, back in I think it was 2000. Okay, this is 2016, so it had to be like 2012, 2011. This movie came out with Nicolas Cage, and he was the father of these children who were being abducted. The Knowing? No, it wasn't The Knowing. It was about he was helping this other woman that was had another child. Her child was also abducted. Um, oh, was it The Knowing? No, isn't The Knowing about where he could tell a few minutes ahead before something happened in his world? He would know about it. That was The Knowing. I love Nicolas Cage. I love that he does these movies, but then it throws you all together, and you're like, okay, what was the name of that movie? But anyway, at the end of it, these aliens, had been coming and taking up the children. Because they knew that the planet was going to, have a catastrophe. And so at the end, the catastrophe was this huge planet coming towards Earth. And of course, the adults, that had their children taken had to stay on Earth. They couldn't go with them. So they got to sit there and watch this planet come, and it just started, tearing up the surface of the planet Earth. So, I mean, for years, they've been talking about, another huge planet, and it's supposed to be like a super Earth, where it's 10 times the mass of what Earth is. And so if it came near and it's not that it's, so near that it's going to hit us or anything. What they're saying now is that if it comes near our orbit, the activity that they're seeing around it now is that as it's moving through in its orbit, this mysterious Planet 9, is showing activity around. In other words, the energy around the planet as it's moving, is capturing comets and fireballs and asteroids, and actually trajecting. How do you traject? Pushing forward momentum, pushing these out and causing them to hit other planets and things that may be in the path. And so they're saying that, if it, comes, which again, it is so far out there. I mean, we're talking, beyond Pluto. And, it's beyond, and it's supposedly a very cold planet because, again, it's beyond Pluto. And so it's just on the edge of our solar system. So, but the article said that at any day now, any day, that it could come and poof, fake news. Okay. It's, I told you, I told another friend on one of the social medias, I'm like, I keep looking up at the sky, because if they say that it's going to be any day, any time now, it's going to show some signs. We'll be seeing some fireballs spitting across the on the surface of our atmosphere before any bigger ones come. The littler ones are further ahead. Again, because of the fact that they're ahead, they fall apart a little more, and so they're not as big. So you're going to see that. You're going to have a sign. It's not going to just be, well, again, I can't say that it's not going to be like a big old comet's just going to come and blow it up. I mean, they said that that's what took out the dinosaurs. Who knows? That could have been fake news too, which is my point. It's all fake news, and I'm tired of hearing it. It's just a culture shock. It's just to keep you in fear. Because, to be honest, if anything were to happen, if a planet was going to come and just going to be throwing stuff at this planet Earth, and what are you going to do? Where are you going to run? It's going to be, oh, la, 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 poof, you're gone. And moving on. Next. It's like, really, why do we give it any kind of fear? Why do we give it any kind of thought? Because really, if we're doing that, then we're not living. We're not enjoying our life. We're just sitting here in this fear and letting it simmer, letting it boil, and then letting it overboil, and then all the steam, and it can start a fire. I mean, we can get crazy with it. It's like, oh, come on, people. Breathe. You would just hope that you would be one of the first to go. Something like that happened. Can you imagine? First of all, if a comet the size of 3 football fields came crashing down on any part of the northern hemisphere, it would take out all of the. It would take. If let's just say that it hit, by the Atlantic Ocean. Oh my God! It would just take out so much of the United States all at once. It would be poof, that quick. So yeah, we'd all be going. You're not going to have time to pack. You're not going to have time to say goodbye. It'd be poof. Back in 2008, I was in Arizona. It was March of 2008. And a friend of mine and I were sitting in his backyard. And, it's in a neighborhood, right? So there's, 5 feet, 10 feet on either side, there's another house. So you don't have much of a view between houses. But the swing that we were sitting on in the backyard just had this view that was just, perfect right between the houses. So we could see the sky and a little bit of it. It was near sunset. And so we're just looking, at the sky, talking as I do all the time. I'm always looking up. And we see this huge fire. What we didn't think was a fireball at the time. We thought we saw a huge jet airliner, because it wasn't too far off from where the airport would have been located. So we thought that's what we saw, flying through the air. And then, so we were expecting to hear about it, right? I mean, if you hear about anything like that, a big airline on fire, you're going to have it all over the news, right? So we looked that night, didn't hear anything, nothing. And then 2 or 3 days later, I was listening to a radio show, and they were talking about this near miss that the Earth had gone through a few days previous, because this huge fireball definitely was, very close to Earth and could be seen with the naked eye. They're like, oh my God, we saw that fireball. And it was the first time I'd seen a fireball in my life. Like I said, I thought it was a huge jet airliner on fire, but it was a huge fireball. And I mean, it was huge. I mean, it was probably bigger than what a jet airliner would look like on fire when you think about it. But it was huge. And so, now when we talk, our saying is poof, because when we found out that it was a fireball, and if it had hit in the trajectory, why can't I say that word tonight? In the position it was going, if it had hit, we'd be gone. Poof, it would have hit the Earth, and taken out several thousand miles around it, and we would have been gone already. And so what I found interesting is I didn't see another fireball. And trust me, I'm constantly looking up in the sky because I believe there's intelligent life up there and it needs to come talk to me because I got some questions. So I'm always looking, and not to mention I've seen UFOs. So I'm always looking up in the sky anyway. And so it was early March. In fact, it was, let me see, I left for Texas March 5th. So it was probably like, 2 days before that. So March 3rd, let's say. And so anyway, I'm, walking outside because I go outside to smoke. So I'm walking outside to go smoke a cigarette, and I just look up into the sky again. It's near sunset, so, it's a perfect time to see a lot of stuff in the sky. I've seen a lot of strange things in the sky at sunset. So anyway, I'm looking over towards the west, just, it's beautiful sky. And then all of a sudden, I see a huge fireball. And now at first I'm thinking it's not. I'm like, what is that? Is that a UFO? My first thought is that intelligent life trying to come talk to me? And so I'm just watching it in amazement, trying to figure out what it is. And then all of a sudden, within seconds of me seeing the first one, a second one appeared. Twin fireballs, two of them. And then what's interesting to note is that just a few days ago, we hear the Indian prophecies from the Hopi Indian prophecy. One of the last signs of things about to change are the twin fireballs, twin comets. They're supposedly going to go streaking across the sky. Like, whoa, I saw those. So I can only hope and pray that change is about to come, and that this fake shit will be over and done with. And that doesn't just go for the fake news and the fake, the propaganda and just, all the crap that they give us, but for fake people too. People who fake to be your friends and they really aren't. For people who fake to be, an acquaintance just to get something from you. They fake concern. So you'll do something for them knowing they ain't never going to repay or try and do nothing for you or show any kind of gratitude. Just fake. That's that low energy crap that's part of the culture shock. Is what what it really should be called, because it has been shocking our culture for generations. Generations. As soon as we went from the great example, the truth hasn't been told since the pictographs were put up on the walls. The Stone Age drawings from, showing us what really happened, what was really there. You can really check out the Anunnaki. They've got some really, really different kind of, we wouldn't expect to see kind of drawings and pictographs from their time here on this planet. And I say it like that because they weren't from this planet. They brought things to this planet, and they had a very, energetic experience on this planet, time of being here. Go check them out, the Anunnaki. But anyway, I digress. Because for generations, this fake shit's been going on. This manipulation and this trying to control things and keep things going in that culture of shock. They try to manipulate and bring things in, and the truths. We don't even know what the truths are, to the point now when we hear a truth, we question it. But if we hear a lie, we repeat it. That's fucked up. That is messed up. Anyway, I need to take a drink. Chris, you want to say anything? Miss Chris is in the chat room with me. Thank you very much for being in here. And of course, she's just listening. Well, I've done shows before where I could go on and talk and talk and talk. I've done shows for a couple of hours just talking because I'm very passionate about, my beliefs and what I feel and, for what I see, because, you and I haven't seen the same world. I've seen a different world. And I mean, there's people today that, I talk to that, tell me that they, had the same experiences as far as seeing spirit. But I see energy. I don't just see spirit, so I didn't just have the, dead people walking through my room and seeing what I could consider to be the devil, all just crazy experiences, which, by the way, I am starting a new paranormal series because I'm just a multitasker extraordinaire. But will be published in the Bella Spree magazine starting in May. Thank you very much. Yes. And it's going to be all about my paranormal life and the stories that I've had from, the 6-year, 7-year-old mark for me is when I started seeing spirit. So it's going to be all those different stories. But anyway, I digress. Not fake news. Okay, there will be real life experiences that I'll be writing about. But anyway, the point is seeing all that when I was younger, and then nobody was there to talk to about it, except for I do have one person who probably is one of the reasons that I continue to retain memory of the things I experienced, which is my sister Angie, because we shared a bedroom with the two middle children. At one point, we shared a bedroom, and she would see some of the same stuff I saw. So I was like, yay! I got somebody else seeing it. First of all, I was very happy that I had somebody else seeing it because I was beginning to think I was crazy. But, she and I, that's why I believe she and I are so close today. I've got 3 other sisters. God love them. One older and 2 younger. But she and I are just, just we've always been close. We've always been the middle kids that were there. Which was the only benefit I had to be in the second born, because I always called myself second born, first born responsibility. But anyway, like I said, I can talk and talk and talk because I'll get back to my point. but I stray. I'll go talk about something else. But anyway, having these experiences, and then, at the time, nobody would, collaborate with me, or nobody, not collaborate, but validate, confirm. And, I had no confirmation of what I was seeing other than, towards the end of it, my sister. Towards the end of it being the end of the time that we were in Fort Huachuca. That was the most haunted place I'd ever lived, was in Fort Huachuca. And then I find out all kinds of crap later about what was really happening on that base. Anyway. So today you hear stories about people who saw spirit, but I saw energy. And I would actually see energy coming and going out of people. And why does that make a big deal? Because when that energy wasn't in them, they were nice, loving, compassionate, good people. But that energy would come in. I mean, and really, when I first started seeing it, it was like I would see a mirage, right? I didn't know to call it energy. It didn't have form. It just looked like that energy floating like a mirage. It wasn't even like a white light, right? It was just like a mirage. Because it wasn't white. Couldn't find out it wasn't good. But anyway, I saw that energy going into, and the more I started connecting to it, the more it did start taking on what looked darker, and what looked, now I can identify as what we call shadow people, with the hats and the different hooded heads, and but they can they can transmute, they can transform, they can be different things. Make themselves look different, shapeshifters. But I would see that energy going into people who were mean now, people who were abusing me, people who no longer had my best interest at heart. And so, having seen that world, and then now here I am, much later in my years, an adult, and dealing with people now, that are affected. So when I say that what is happening when we get the fake news, that it's a shock, it's a jolt to our system. I mean that literally, because when I go in and do energy work on these people, then their whole chakra system is, like a scarring on it, like it's been, it's been infiltrated, it's been stabbed, jabbed, shocked, over and over again in some cases, to where these people really have a hard time functioning in things in different aspects of their life. And so that's what I mean by seeing the energy play happening, and all this fake stuff, is so guided and directed by this energy play. And so I'm just, to the point where I'm like done. Excuse me. I'm choking on my own words here because I know I'm not done. You know what I mean? I know I'll be dealing with it and taking care of it as long as I'm here. I will be assisting and dealing and removing and, enlightening and showing people that, I don't want to say my truths or your truths or the truths, but just take off those blinders. And stop the madness. We really need to stop the madness, because if anything changes, people have to change. Nothing changes until we wake up and say enough is enough. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. So that's my sound off for this Friday. So I do appreciate you coming in. Those of you that have been watching on YouTube, I appreciate you. And go follow us over on Facebook so you can get the link to come into the live Google Hangout where we do the recording, and able to stream live on YouTube, which we are next Wednesday, me and the Miss Bell, where we will be doing free readings, so come in. And then, of course, Thursdays with Miss Chris and her awesome makeup. We're all going to be looking beautiful. Even though I didn't do it today, I'm sorry. I just had a busy day. I didn't have time. But yes, that's Miss Chris that's in here. And so you can follow her over there, Christina's Makeup Tips on Facebook. But then come into Paranormal Network on Facebook. That's our group where we have all the links for the shows and the live chat to come, posted there. All right, so thank you very much. And next time, come join us for Sound Off.